A lot of my art is not necessarily directly related to me, but a portrait, it's really hard to hide. So when you're making a self-portrait of yourself, all the things you think about yourself, they're gonna come out whether or not you intend for them to.
Not only was the task of visually what sort of medium lends yourself to yourself, but like it almost, you had to look in the mirror literally and say like, how do I perceive my own self?
Something about like the intersection of like really focusing on a piece and trying to make a piece that starts from this like origin point of your own image, and then it sort of glides in with how you see yourself, how you like the kind of art that you like and the kind of art that inspires you.
The way that you do something, you know, will always kind of speak to what's going on. You know, even if an artist doesn't know how to like formulate that into words or something, it's just like, you know, you see something and then the viewer will always have some sort of reaction to it, and I don't know, that's always the cool and fun thing about art. So my name is Tyson Schultz.
My name's Levi Sternburg.
I'm a graphic designer.
I'm a Sioux Falls sculptor and artist.
And I am one half of Untitled 10.
10.
So what Untitled 10 does is that we host, organize, and curate pop-up art shows in Sioux Falls. I graduated in 2020, and you know, so very early COVID. Graduated, you know, everybody was quarantining, everybody was at home. You know, even with that stuff aside, there wasn't a lot of opportunities in Sioux Falls to showcase art. But then an opportunity came up last September 2021. I was asked to help put together an art show at the Rail Yard Flats in East Bank, Sioux Falls. I employed the help of my friend and ex-classmate Levi Sternburg, and from there we've just kind of kept the ball rolling.
I mean, that was part of the whole reason I got into art and got my degree in art. I mean, I've always loved making it myself, but I wanted to take a more active role in like community building, and since the beginning I wanted to make Sioux Falls specifically a better place for artists because I always lived here. Tyson came back after, like before he graduated from USD, and we were at dinner talking, and he's like, yeah, I kind of want to start a gallery or something. That's all I heard, and I was like, I'm in. Whatever you're trying to do, I'm in. So we just need one D-ring over here.
So that's the thing that's challenging about pop-up shows, is that like there's always new challenges. You know, a lot of places like downtown have like brick walls and things like that, so trying to figure out how to hang stuff without damaging the walls, but also making sure that the art is like up and secure and not going to fall off the wall is always difficult. We'll have freestanding walls, and then there'll be art on both sides of these walls, and I think we might have some art that hangs up on another like flat wall space.
It's a self-portrait show. I think a self-portrait is sort of like its own category of art. It doesn't really have any sort of basis in the outside world. It's all about the artist and their media, and them sort of like creating a reflection of themselves. So I thought that was just a really cool idea, cool way to share the art and the artist all at once. I think sometimes it feels like in Sioux Falls that the city loves art but doesn't always love artists. They don't always like want to know who made it. They just want to see it and buy it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way most people look at art. But I thought self-portraits could get people out of their shell a little bit and get people interested in the artist as well as the art.
I'm very honored to be selected out of the many submissions, and I think I am the only lino cut in the show, too.
I think there's one other one.
One other one, wow. Well, I told Tyson if I'm gonna just keep making lino cuts till someone else does one, so now I'm out, and I'm out of the game now. I'm very honored, and I'm excited to see, or I did see already, depending on when this comes out, all the other pieces that are in the show. So the art I'm creating is always just random, I guess. I mean, I would say I'm very just on the cusp of finding my artistic style, you know. Again, I wouldn't describe myself as an artist, more as a designer, so, but that's, I mean, that's exciting for me. You know, the point of art is just to have fun, you know. So I'm having fun. The idea of this piece was just not only looking at when I see myself, like, what do I see? Do I see just a person in front of me, or do I see deeper inside? Like, what do I think about myself, I guess? And for me, I like the idea of the skeleton just because, like, it's a lot more than meets the eye in my mind. And the different circles sort of represent different lenses you're looking at. So, like, there's 2 circles around me, I believe, and then the one focusing on my face. So I always think about, like, perception of yourself versus how you're perceived by others. So, like, obviously surface level perception versus what's on the inside. So, and that's a whole other conversation about skulls and skeletons, which I'm really into. Just the idea of the association with death and how most people connotate that with a negative idea, skulls, whereas everyone has one and everyone's made up of them, you know? So it's fascinating to me, just, you know, and it's the commonality between not all living things, but, you know, all living people. And I'm very much a amateur when it comes to this whole medium. This is, since the inception of these shows, that's sort of something I've started to dip my toe into and learn more about with each new piece that I create. It's taught me a lot of patience, just because in terms, you know, a majority, I'd say 95% of the art I do create is digital. So dipping, again, my toe into the more fine art or the pure art of just making stuff with your hands again, it just really brought me back to, like, school and all the different fine art classes that I took there, and just having that patience where I can't just, I messed something up, I can't undo it right away, you know. I gotta really take the time and sit down and really contemplate my design decisions and really just follow through with the design. So that's been a rewarding part of it, I guess.
And these go back to 2018, so this is a 4-year-old sketchbook. I tend to paint more detailed, surrealistic/realistic art, and it tends to be darker color palettes typically. My self-portrait was started last year. I don't really like painting myself. I don't know if many people do, but I've kind of had a bit of a crazy last couple of years in my life, and underwent some trauma, and I just felt the need to kind of paint myself in a moment when I was going through something. And I didn't finish it, but when I saw this particular show, I thought, well, it's almost done. Why don't I just sit down and put a few hours in and finish it and submit it? In the moment that I took the reference photo of myself for that piece, I was kind of picking myself up from like a crying session. I lost a son a couple of years ago. And I was kind of choosing to just keep going with my day. And I saw that, like, in my own expression, I kind of saw both sort of the grief, but also the sort of strength that I used to get up and continue going forward. And then I also included in my torso, I made it just black, and then I added sunflowers in, just because sunflowers are kind of a personal, motif in a lot of my art. And I feel like during those times following losing my son, I really did find a lot of strength in myself and sort of a beauty that I never really saw before. And so I included those, but I tried to make them quite dim on purpose. This is very important to me. Art is. It's been a huge therapeutic release in my life. And I also like portraiture. It's something I've always enjoyed. And so when I saw the call for artists, I'm really excited to see how other people display themselves. I think that it is very cool to see that vulnerability.
I don't know anything about, like, form, but I'm like, oh, hopefully I didn't catch it. Like, and, like, bust any of them on, like, having bad form or something.
The type of art I'm into is not yet quite like the type of art I make, I guess. I like a lot of modernist paintings. I'm still obsessed with the modernists. So right now I'm working to loosen up my style and trying to, like, get closer to that, I guess. A lot of my work right now is portrait work. I'm interested in people and I'm interested in psychology. So it's been really fun for me to look at people and their postures and how their personality and their, psychology kind of shines through into their physical self. I think so many artists are introspective, and I think anytime you're making a self-portrait, a lot of introspection does happen, just since you're looking at yourself like hard and long in the face. So my piece, can you see it in the shot?
Yep.
This was made when I was pregnant, and I was thinking a lot about how to express multi-dimensions. It could be a metaphor for maybe like a person who's got many facets or many dimensions to them. I also kind of got into thinking about the physics of dimensions during pregnancy too. I'm super excited to see other people's work. I'm always excited to see how artists I know change and grow from one show to the next. I'm also always excited to find new names and, show support.
We love art, we love artists, and we love Sioux Falls. So when we came out of the scene rather recently, we wanted to create opportunities to give local artists and regional artists and emerging artists a platform to show their work right here at home. And we thought, what better way to get to know artists than with a self-portrait, right? There's a lot of personality in the show, and each piece has a lot of beauty to see and a lot of detail. And I encourage slow looking at all these pieces to spend some time with them and see what comes into your mind. The artists in this community are creative and talented, and they have a mastery over so many different approaches and materials. But they've also shown us that they're kind souls who are willing to go out of their way to make a donation to help organizations and charities that are doing good work here at Sioux Falls. And every artist in the show has made a donation to the Banquet.
We're a local feeding ministry here in Sioux Falls. We have 2 physical locations, and we provide 16 meals a week to people who are hungry. I always joke.
The Banquet actually started back in 1985 at the building where you guys at Epicasi are currently housed. So there's an interesting piece of history that ties the old to the new with our mission here. All of this is volunteer driven, so we need people to come and help prepare the meals. We have people who come in to help serve the meals. So, that's been a big pivot through COVID, is that before we relied heavily on the church groups or work groups that brought 20 to 30 people even. And now we have work groups that can commit 10 people, and then we have individual volunteers who help fill in the gaps of, hey, we need a couple extra hands here or there to help meet those needs and fill those souls and stomachs.
The Banquet sort of means something to me because I recently started a new job at the 8th and Railroad Center. So I drive down 8th Street every day, and there's lots of transient people there and sort of coming and going in and about the Banquet, and it's easy to feel helpless driving by that. So with this, when we were looking for someone to fundraise for, the Banquet seemed like a good option because they do something really valuable for people who really need it.
I've spent my whole career in nonprofit management, and just like I was talking before, there's the times that it's just like, what in the world was that? But then you meet a Darren or a Brian and you hear their stories and how they've persevered and overcome incredible obstacles in their lives, and it's just like, how can you not be in their corner to help them on? So it's just kind of a personal fulfillment thing for me that I'm always trying to identify those things to help people out, and this I get to do it for my job. And so I'm always looking for new and unique ways to hit new people, and this was just such a natural, it checked all the boxes naturally that it was how could you say no to it?
If you take the time to sit down and chat and eat with some of our folks, you're going to meet some really awesome people. So I'd invite you all to come down to one of our spots and volunteer a couple hours of your time if you have that available. And thank you.
obviously a lot of work, but it's, you know, it's rewarding. Feels good to give back to the community, to help, you know, grow the community, cultivate, you know, do all these things just because, I don't know. To me, it's just the right thing to do. Like, it's just the obvious thing that's just like, you know, we should all be working together, like building each other up, like doing all these things to try to help grow the art community.
When we hear from artists saying this was my first show, or I had such a good time, you know, I got to bring my family out and show this, or when an artist, you know, like sells a piece of artwork or something like that, that's when it becomes rewarding for us, and that's when we can see and hear from people and see the difference that it's making for people.
The art community in Sioux Falls is really supportive, and it is still like budding. So that's why I think it is really exciting to be here, is because, I don't know, no matter what stage you're in, I feel like it's accessible to you.
Having just this validation of, hey, I was in this show, it was up on the wall, it was peer reviewed by actual artists, that's huge, you know, and it's something you can, whether it's, you know, physical, put it on the resume type thing, but just like you said, internally as an artist, you sort of get that self-validation, like, hey, this is real, I did this, and take a little pride in that.
I had no idea the variety of artists that were here in Sioux Falls, and also like pursuing careers and putting their stuff out there. I haven't really shown my art anywhere, and I think that's been good for me, because I had to really think through, like, what do I like? Like, if I like my art, that needs to be enough for me. And if that's enough for me, then it's enough for other people.
Art is a different world. Like something that someone made, or even something that was designed or happened by accident, that's humanity. Without creative expression, the richness and the depth of the human condition fall flat. Untitled 10's going to the moon, or as close as we can get. Tyson and I are creative fellas, so we're not going to run out of ideas anytime soon. And there's always an empty space, and there's always going to be more artists, and we keep meeting more artists all the time. So as long as there's empty walls and art, we'll keep putting them together.